What's going on, YouTube? This recession might be coming, it might be not, and we might be fucked either way. So I'm listening today, a couple random YouTube videos here and there, talking jobs numbers, talking Fed information coming out later. We got CPI coming out later this week. Powell got up there earlier today and spoke in front of the Senate. I mean, I don't think anything really substantial ever really comes out of that. Got a fly in the car, apparently. Fuck. But he was pretty dovish, and basically that just means like soft on inflation. In terms in this situation we are in right now, like the cycle we're in, where stock market and everybody else is waiting for the Fed to cut rates, dovish would just mean they're not looking to hold the rates high for too much longer, or at least they're definitely not raising them, but they're looking to cut at some point here soon. And we're in this weird spot because I've made videos talking about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it because, I mean, it's an ever-changing thing. We'll see what happens. They're not going to cut rates in July. They're not going to cut them in August either, I don't think. I mean, maybe September. I think the betting odds for it are starting to tune up around September, October. But my guess is probably November. One of the videos I was listening to earlier today was basically saying, and it just so happens, the Fed meeting where they would cut the rate is 2 days after the election. So that would be a good time for them to wait to cut it, to basically avoid basically being called political in some way, because they're not supposed to be a political entity, even though they are. I mean, they're part of the government, quasi-government, quasi-private, whatever the fuck the Federal Reserve is. We can get into it in some other video, but they're trying to basically maintain their status and their reliability, and you got to have the confidence. They got to have the confidence, basically, of the people and of the economy and of the government to operate correctly, and that's the thing they're dealing with. So right now they're tight-roping a couple things, and it might be hard for me to even explain it, but they're tight-roping trying to keep the economy in a balanced state, where they have this dual mandate where it's like full unemployment and keep inflation down to their target. And the things are opposites in the sense of, if everybody's employed, especially if their wages are going up, you're going to force inflation up. So you're trying to hit this balance, and we've been at this weird balance point with really low inflation for the past couple months, and we're starting to see it tick up. We're starting to see the unemployment rates tick up. And the weird thing is, to get our inflation down, because we've had this inflation problem for so long, the unemployment rate has to go up. So that's their seesaw. Right now inflation's still too high, but they're slowly bringing it down. And inflation's on this side, and the unemployment rate's on this side. And to get us back into balance, they have to force the unemployment rate up, which nobody likes, because, I mean, obviously, if you're just a person who works, even if you're a business owner, you have employees, blah, 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 everybody's impacted by unemployment going up. If unemployment goes up, basically inflation comes down because the circulation of money is impacted. People are making less money. Either people are making no money now, they're unemployed, they're making less money, they're spending less money, things get tighter. The cycle continues. I don't think that's too complicated. I think anybody can understand that, really. The question will be how tight their grip is on the seesaw of trying to balance this thing, because it's a hard thing. They've only done it a couple times in the past successfully, but normally during this balancing act, something breaks and triggers high unemployment, basically throws us into a recession. They're trying to do what's called a soft landing, which is basically the balancing act I'm talking about, to slowly bring it back into balance. The thing is, though, you'll know shit's getting bad when they start cutting rates. So in a weird way, it's a feedback loop, like I said. They both impact each other, so it's not independent. So when they start cutting the rates, say they start cutting them in November, and by then, say if our unemployment keeps ticking up as it has been, I think it's up like 0.4% over the year, something like that, 4 or 5/10. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but we've been coasting under 4% for a long time, and we just went over 4%. We're at 4.1. And the thing is, we're at 4.1, but this goes back to the confidence argument that I was making about the Fed, it's the same thing with all these government agencies that report all these numbers. The same with the CPI, all these things. These numbers are bullshit. A lot of it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. The job numbers especially are weird because they release the job numbers and then the next month and the months after they continue to revise them. So they say we just arbitrary numbers, these aren't the real numbers, but they say we have 200,000 jobs gained 1 month, and we're like, wow, that's pretty good. Economy's looking pretty strong. The next month they come back and say, oh, by the way, it was only 130,000. So they take 70,000 jobs away after the market and everybody has priced it in and reacted to it, because I think it just impacts things less when they do that way. Because if they came out and missed their target by a ton, that would cause a chain reaction of things that happen negatively. So they basically lie. They just, or whatever. You can say they're not lying, but you can say they're wrong. They just completely blow it. They're wrong. And then they revise it down later. So they say, look how strong the economy is. Oh, by the way, it's not that strong. It's not that strong. We take fucking 20% off that number. And then they revise it down. And this is a similar kind of thing where I've said before too, like the CPI numbers are complete bullshit. They're like, oh, this is the core or whatever, and we take out food and energy and housing. It's like, okay, or food and energy and then housing is part of a separate one. It's like, okay, well, you just took out the three biggest things that are the most important to people that need it to survive. So what the fuck are you doing? Like, what do you mean you took it out? Yeah, you took it out to make the number look better. That's great because they fluctuate a lot. Yeah, that's where the inflation is, boss. Yeah, food's a lot more expensive. Gas is a lot more expensive. Housing is fucking through the roof. That's what it is. So, I don't know really where I'm going with this, besides it's starting to get interesting. Like I said, the unemployment's ticking up. Inflation is projected, like I said, we'll see what it actually is Thursday, Friday, to come down a little bit even more. We're still in the 3 point something range, so we're still above their target. So they can't cut rates because I've explained this in other videos too. But like, quick is like, if they cut the rates, stock market's going up. Inflation basically is going up. That is a signal to all these other companies. They're printing money. It's time to spend money. So when the rates go up, you can get good money for just parking your cash somewhere. When the rates go down, it's time to spend money and basically invest it, which will trigger the inflation to go back up again. So they're in the balancing act, they can't cut it because inflation will just go back up, the whole reason they have the rates high in the first place. So I think they're going to hold on the rate cutting. I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to happen maybe November. We're going to get one substantial cuts. I mean, who knows? I don't know how long it's going to take them. The betting markets probably say all throughout 2025 we're going to be getting rate cuts all the time. And the problem is, for a person like me, a person like you watching this video probably, I mean, I got my 401k and some other shit invested, but I don't care. I'm investing, I'm dollar cost averaging, I'm not doing anything else. I'm constantly just buying. I'm not trying to time market, none of that shit. I don't play that shit. I hope you're not doing it either. It's too risky, too hard, not really worth it. I don't really give a shit about the stock market in the sense of like, I work for a private company. If you work for a public company, maybe you care about what their stock's doing. But I don't care that much about it. Like I said, I'm buying regardless. Stock market, I'm buying in. If it goes lower, in my mind, that means it's discounted. I'm buying more. I'd buy more if I could. So I don't care about the stock market, but these rates stay high. Inflation is coming down, but unemployment is going up. And I think the unemployment is what's going to impact the most people, regular people, is like, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's 330 million people in the United States. Let's say even half of them are like working age or able to work, whatever. So you're like 150 million. I'm just making these numbers up completely. 150 million people are working. So you got a 4% inflation rate. You got 6 million people unemployed. But if it goes to 8%, which I don't think it will either, but I'm just saying. But if it goes to 8% doubles, I mean, then you got 6 more million people that have lost their jobs. And that's not even counting, like, technically not losing your job, but maybe your company is like a fast food company or something like that, and they start cutting people's hours so they can reduce costs. Like, there's all kinds of things that happen. You don't have to just flat out lose your job. Not to say you won't find another job either, but I mean, there's going to be millions of people that are going to be unemployed if the unemployment rate ticks up by even 1%. So that's where it's going to hurt people. That's what it's going to come down to. For somebody like me, like I said, somebody watching this video maybe, I mean, the thing is, the only thing I'm really worrying about right now is keep my job, save money as best I can, invest anything extra, get my 5%, like I said, while the rates are high, while I can for free, and like save for a house. And the problem is, I want to save up for my house, but the thing is, unemployed, obviously, if I lose my fucking job, I'm not getting a house because I don't have enough money until I get another job. You don't want to be that person. And undoubtedly, there'll be some people who just bought homes and then they'll lose their job, and then that house is getting foreclosed on eventually. So there'll be some houses for sale off that. And the other thing is, though, they'll start cutting the rates when the unemployment goes up. So when they cut the rates, I mean, I've heard people argue this, and I somewhat agree. I don't know necessarily. It's very conditional on where you're at and everything, but I mean, they cut the rates. That means people can borrow money easier. It's going to be a weird balancing act of how bad the economy really is doing while they cut the rates or not. Sorry about the rumble strips. But if they cut the rates, the house prices might just keep going up. If people have made that argument, I'll yield that. I understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily know, like, you can't really say they're all going up no matter what. It's all going to go up. I don't think so. But it's an interesting situation. We'll see how it works out. Like I said, I don't think we have much longer. I mean, July, August, September, October, November, we got 3 solid months and a couple days here and there on the end of July and maybe the start of November. We'll see. Elections coming up. Shit economically might be hitting the fan here soon. That's all tied together. We're going to see how it goes. But I'm going to keep making the videos. Like I said, it's kind of fun for me. I'm really loving it. You guys, some people dropping comments. Got some boys. Shout out, dog. I saw you on the last vid. If you're still watching this somehow, shout out all the boys that I know in real life watching the videos. I appreciate it. And anybody I don't know, just leaving comments. Hey, man, like I said, I'm reading them. I'll respond to them. It's sweet seeing what people have to say, honestly, getting a couple different takes. I always like doing it, so I appreciate you. Keep doing it. Keep it up. Drop a like, sub to the channel. Like I said, I'm going to keep making the vids. Keep commenting, subscribe, tell somebody about the videos maybe. Hopefully they can get something out of it. A little informational, educational, I don't know, entertainment at least, maybe, hopefully. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow.